Welcome to the M Factor, Next Level Yoga with M. I'm delighted to practice with you today. So I have prepared a 20-minute flow where we will be using 5 minutes to calm our nervous system and really focus on our breathing, and then a 15-minute flowing movement, a little bit of whole body mobility so that we get most of our joints. I hope you enjoy it. We come into a seat. So, no, you do not have to sit in cross-legged position. If this is easy to sit, and you can sit in cross-legged, being able to lift up your spine, to tilt your hip in an angle where your whole upper body can effortlessly lift up, by all means, please do. If this is not the easiest position, please don't sit like this, because if the spine is not able to erect and lengthen, if this is already constricted and creates a lot of effort, all our breathing that we will be doing is not going to reach and help us to create the energy that we want. So if this is a difficult position, you can sit in hero's pose. If you would take 1 or 2 blocks or telephone books or anything that you can sit on a little bit higher, you can bring the blocks in between your feet and have your sit bones sit on the blocks a little bit higher. For most people, for most athletes, this is a little bit often a better solution. However, again, even here, you will have to have a little bit of mobility already in the knee and ankle joint. So if this is not a good position for you, then I would love for you to sit against the wall. Yeah, please sit comfortably against the wall, all the way erect and upright, and this will help you to create that length and the openness that we need to be able to breathe. Yeah, so I will stay in this position called hero's pose for this session. So, let your hands be on your thighs, erect the spine, lift up, and elongate all the way upright. Take a deep breath in, and take 1 moment before you close your eyes to lengthen the back of the crown of the head upright. So imagine we had a string that lifts us up. Imagine there is a flashlight right up here in my sternum area that elongates and lifts my spine upright in about a 45-degree angle upright. The shoulders are relaxed. Even if they relax a little bit forward, do not worry about that right now. The elbows are hanging to the side, and we are creating length in our spine. So the one thing that we need for breathing is an erect, upright rib cage. As soon as we are in this position, we're not going to be able to use our diaphragm and the breathing muscles the way they need to be used. So elongate and lengthen. Good. Draw this chin slightly in. Close your eyes and take 3 breaths where you inhale through your nose and exhale through your lips. This is designed to arrive on our mat, to take a moment to create space to all the rest of the life that we just left. It's almost like creating a doorway through which we allow to create a transition into our practice. So without deeply breathing and in already a controlled form, I just want you to feel your breath for 1 moment. Feel your inhale and your exhalation. Notice those 2 parts and just observe them without judgment. There's no right or wrong. We are breathing how our breath allows us to breathe in this moment in time. And very often already here, a lot of students get confused. So try to not expect anything from the breath, but follow just the flow of the movement. The breath comes in and enters the body, and the breath flows out and exits the body again. It creates a fluid rhythm. And you might notice that there are parts that are a little bit deeper and wider. Maybe the inhale is a little bit fuller. Maybe the exhale is a little bit fuller. Now take a moment to actively inhale and passively exhale. So the inhalation is active and slow down the movement just a bit. And the exhalation just releases the breath and let it exit the body by itself without us doing anything for it. So inhalation active, exhalation passive. Please start to breathe through your nostrils. That's our breathing organ. And in yoga, as much as we can, of course, if the nose is stuffed, you should use your mouth. But if possible, even in everyday life, use your nose as your breathing organ. Inhale and exhale. Now take your hands onto your rib cage. Not really the belly, but this lower part of the rib cage. And if you can, just widen your hands to the outside of the rib cage. And now see if your inhalation can actually expand and widen your rib cage in a column-like dimension outward. And the exhalation draws the rib cage back in. Inhale and exhale. And what we would feel is that the breath is actually pushing our hands out when we inhale and lets the arms and the hands draw back closer when we exhale. So the breath moves our hands, maybe ever so slightly, and that's absolutely fine. This is a good way to teach our breathing muscles to work a little bit more in expansion. That's what we want. The inhale actually expands our torso. The exhale allows the energy to draw back in, and our torso releases back to its neutral position. Inhale and exhale. Again, inhale and exhale. Let's do 5 more rounds. Inhale, 1. Number 2. Number 3. Number 4. Number 5. And let the breath settle back into its natural rhythm. Release your hands on your thighs. Breathing into our lower rib cage and belly. Maybe 10 breaths at a time, where you slow down the breathing a little bit, is a wonderful way to get a little interruption in our day, or to calm ourselves when we need it, or maybe just to get a pause in the busyness of our day. Yeah? So, let's lay on our backs, please. If you have blocks, place them to the end of your mat, and we lay down on our back. Bend bend your knees and open your feet about as wide as your mat is wide. If you open your arms to the side into a 90-degree angle and yet let your palms roll open so that they can face the sky. And we start to move by moving our knees, I call this the windshield wiper motion, into a movement from side to side. The outer leg externally rotates out, the inner leg turns in as deep as we can, and then switch to the other side. This will create a nice movement in our hip joints, and it's a wonderful way to warm your body. It creates a stretch in the side body. It helps to create awareness to our sacrum and lower back. And maybe the first few times don't go as deep, but then the more often you do it, you might be able to go a little bit further. If you like, you can extend the arms overhead too and get an even deeper side stretch. Let the movement be in a rhythm that is not too fast, but not too slow either, but a really soft, almost fluid-like movement from side to side, wherever this is today. And then slowly bring both knees to the chest, hug with your hands around the knees, and softly draw the knees closer. And you might notice that your tailbone comes up a little bit. That's okay. Elongate the length of your head and your neck. So keep the spine all the way on the floor and see if you can bring the knees in. Open them out to the side and just let them hang. We get a slight little stretch in our thighs. And if you take your hands to the inside of the knees, you can start a little rocking motion from side to side. And with it, we feel that this creates a massage in this lower back sacral area. So right about here, the part of the spine that is connecting to your hip is called the sacrum. And this is a wonderful sacral massage, especially fabulous if you have a little bit of back pain after long days of standing or sitting. This is almost like a little self-massage. I like to start with that. And then bring the knees softly back in a neutral position to the chest. Extend the right leg out. Left knee stays to the chest. Imagine that your ankle, knee, and hip create one beautiful long line. Draw the left knee a bit closer to your chest and switch the legs. Right knee in, left leg again. Flex the foot. This is flexing the foot. The ankle, knee, and hip joint stay in one beautiful long line. And the way how you can check if you are is to lift up your head and just peek if your ankle stays in one line with your hip. Draw the right knee a bit closer and see if you can lengthen the back of the head out into the opposite direction. And again, switch. First, bring the left knee in, and then right leg extends out. Beautiful. People always ask me how to breathe. And that's a very tricky question, because the breathing rhythm should be continuously breathing. Yes, of course, the longer you practice, we can create a rhythm where to inhale and where to exhale. But for the purpose of today's class, I would love for you to just breathe. So the only rule right now is to not hold the breath. And that's what we often do. So just pay attention. Am I breathing while I am moving? Switch again. Last time, left leg extends out. Good. And this time, I would love for you to hug with your hands around the right knee or the back of your thigh, and then slowly see if you can extend the right leg. Rotate the right foot in a big, big angle. The wider the angle, the better. So you will feel this in your shin and maybe in your calf muscle. If the knee is bent a little bit, do not worry. Try to extend it. If it doesn't extend all the way, no worries at all. And the opposite circle. And then bend the knee again. And switch. Left knee to the chest, right leg extends out. Hold with your hands behind the knee. Lift up your heel as if you had a package on top of your foot. And then see if you can extend the knee a bit. You might want to hold, or even if you hold here, even if the knee is a bit bent, absolutely fine. Start to rotate your ankle in a big, big movement. The bigger the movement, the better. Check if we're still breathing. In and exhale. Switch to the other direction. And that immediately limbers up our feet a little bit. And then slowly bend the knees. Wonderful. From here, roll up with a little swing. Hands around the back of your thighs with a little swing. Roll up. And let's come onto all fours, please. So we turn over and come into table position. The shoulders are on top of our wrists. The hips are on top of our knees. So open them a little bit wider and create a long line. We're coming into cat and cow. You've probably done this position, this wonderful warming movement for our spine. We inhale into cow position. Focus on the chest. Draw the chest forward, upward, and pull the navel in and round the back into cat. In cat, we focus on our lower back and try to pull in the navel as tight as we can. This is full core engagement here. And again, back and forth. So this is called the first and the second direction of the spine. The spine can arch this way and that way. So we're creating an arch in both directions. Inhale and exhale. Wonderful. Now let's go from side to side. Left side starts. Left shoulder towards the left hip and right shoulder towards the right hip. If you see me from the front, you can see that my hips are not moving to the side, but my shoulder bends to the hip and my other shoulder bends to the other hip. That creates a stretch in our side body. And these, as you have guessed, right, are the third and fourth direction of the spine, side to side movement. This is what the spine is capable of. Beautiful. And then slowly from here, left side starts again. We lift up the left arm at a 90-degree angle and lift up all the way to the sky by twisting our torso and then thread the arm under below the right arm and back to center. Inhale, lift, and exhale, and thread under into the opposite direction. And what we're doing with this is we are twisting our torso in two separate directions. And as you have guessed, again, this is the fifth and the sixth direction of the spine. And I love to warm my spine up with this. This is a wonderful thing for the morning to get movability in a lot of joints very quickly. And let's switch to the other side. Right arm opens up. Lift and twist your whole torso open. And exhale, thread the arm under and try to reach with your shoulder towards the ground. And again, lift up and exhale, back down. Theoretically, the inhalation lengthens us, but if you want to hold here for a moment, that's absolutely fine. And then you double breathe, and then you thread under. Let's do one more time. Fifth and sixth direction of the spine. Inhale and exhale. Wonderful. And then slowly from here, we come onto our feet. So curl the toes under for just one moment and shift your body weight towards your heels. The foot has four corners, 2 in the upper front part and 2 in the back. And I want you to really shift your body weight into the 2 heel points. Good. And then slowly we are shifting our knees off the ground and bring the weight back. Now, some of you will be able to come already into a squat where the heels are on the ground. That's fine if you can do this, beautiful. If your heels are a little bit off the ground, do not worry. That's totally okay, yeah? At home, you could take a blanket theoretically and place a blanket between your heels and that actually helps to stabilize a little bit this position. Ultimately, we want to open up mobility in our ankle joint. So what I would love for you to do is widen your feet a bit. As good as we can, keep the feet parallel. Don't turn them out too much, yeah? Keep them as good as we can parallel. And then let the knees open out to the side. And then we lower the knees around our hands, maybe the fingertips that are on the ground. It is kind of like a rounding movement around the elbow. And our hips are shifting. And this helps to warm up our feet, our ankles, knee and hip joint. Yeah, it's a really lovely way to get a lot of movement in joints to warm them up. Let's do 2 more times. And remember to keep breathing. Good. And from here, I'm going to turn around. I would love for us to fold forward. So keep the feet fairly wide open, at least hip width apart. And then the knees can stay a tiny little bit bent, yeah? Don't immediately lock them. It's not good for the back. So keep the knees bent and make an effort to lift up our sit bones up to the sky. So the sit bones are right here. Lift them up to the sky. And what might happen is you are elongating immediately your back. And that's exactly what we want. Most of us tend to stand on our heels. Now see if you can shift your weight a bit forward. And then just let your head hang wherever this is. Yeah, I won't go too deep. So let your head hang. Let your rib cage and chest hang. Keep your knees soft, but lift up the sit bones high to the sky. Yeah? And then slowly from here, bring your hands onto your shins. Lengthen your spine. And fold forward 1 more time. Beautiful. 1 more. Inhale, lengthen the spine, lift the sit bones up, and fold forward. Beautiful. Now from here, if you have blocks, take your blocks left and right. Don't have to have them. And we're stepping the left leg back into a lunge. Left lunge. Good. We'll try to keep the front knee at a 90-degree angle. We are elongating and lengthening the other leg, so don't keep the knee bent, extend it, and really engage your glute and your core, yeah? Really important. Now from here, bend the back knee down, but don't shift the body weight back. Keep the hip forward and extend again. And every time you do this, see if you can stay with your hip a little bit lower. Bend and extend. Now, if you see my spine, you can see how my spine is in one long line with my back knee. Bend and extend. Beautiful. That gets a lot of hip opening, yeah? Very, very good for a lot of athletes. Now, from here, we extend the toes of the back leg and we rock forth and back. This is called a rocking lunge. And I love this because it creates a lot of movement in our hip joint. So now, make sure that both hip joints are looking forward and the hip bones are pointing to the front. The glutes are engaged. We're not just hanging in the back, yeah, pushing the hip forward. We want mobility where? In the hip and not in the back, okay? Really important to understand. And I'm more than happy to teach a little bit deeper. Extend and bend. Beautiful. From here, open up the blocks, lift up the back knee, and step forward with a little swing and switch the legs. Right leg back, extend into left lunge. Let's do 5 bends. 1, and extend. 2, and extend. 3, 4, 5, and slowly bend the back knee down. You can always take something below the knee. Yeah, some people are a little bit sensitive. Rocking lunge, here we go. Extend the left leg. See if you can extend it as good as we can and bend. If it's still a little bit bent here, Doesn't matter, because what are we doing? We are lifting the sit bone of that left leg out to the back behind us. That's how we get a hamstring stretch. And bend forward and extend. Good. Lengthen, draw the chin in, and remember we're breathing. Do not worry where exactly. Just allow the body to breathe. Last time. Extend. Beautiful. And slowly from here, we are stepping back into plank position. Come into a high plank for just one moment. Draw the chin in. Shorten your core. Good. And bend the knees and push back into a nice downward facing dog. If the knees are bent, you can really focus on your back. Yeah? If you're able to extend the knees, do the little movement where we are shifting our hips from side to side and grounding the heels. This paddling motion gives us a fabulous stretch in the calf muscle area. Wonderful. And from here, slowly we walk forward. Walk, walk, walk between our hands. Good. Lengthen our spine first. Draw the navel in. Open the arms to the side. Lift up into a lovely, light little back bend. This is called volcano pose. So shift your hips forward and let your head fall out, upward, not backward. Yeah? Upward to the sky. And slowly open back up. Good. Take your hands behind your skull. Interlace your fingers. Good. And from here, lift up the left arm and lift up the right arm. And every time we do this, we create a lovely stretch in the opposite side. And lift. Beautiful. See if you can stay in the sandwich position. And last time, right arm open. And lift your arms. From here, bend your knees, fold forward, back into a forward fold. Good. Bend the knees. Wonderful. And we slowly step back into plank again. Bend the knees to the ground and just lower yourself towards the ground very slowly. Good. So, here comes one more movement for our back, which is wonderful, counteracting all the hunching and crunching that we do. Sphinx pose. So we come onto our elbows, the belly button and the hips stay on the ground. And we push ourselves forward, upward. And it's almost as if I'm pulling myself to the front of the mat. But since I am on a sticky mat, I'm not going anywhere. But there is this energy forward, upward. And then very slowly release back down. Hands to the side of your chest. We're coming into cobra position. Squeeze your shoulder blades together and let your elbows touch each other as good as we can. And we inhale, lift up, and exhale, lower back down. Please don't push with your hands, yeah? So this is not a movement where we're lifting ourselves up. This is a back strengthening exercise where the hands could ultimately be off the ground. And again, inhale, lift, and exhale, lower, back down, push back, lift yourself up, draw the navel in, round your back, one vertebra at a time, and come into a resting child position. Round your back all the way. This is wonderful for everyone whose back now comes in a balance again. Deep breath. And then slowly from here, roll up one vertebra at a time. Roll the shoulder blades back. And we come into our last stretch, which I love, is crocodile pose, a wonderful twist on our backs. So we lay on our back, extend the left leg, bring the right foot beside the left knee, And first and foremost, I'm going to show you this here, move our hip a tiny bit to the right. Yeah, so I want you to come from here and lift up your hip and bring the hip to the right. And then let your big toe of the right foot touch the left inner side of the knee, and we're starting to twist into a beautiful twist. The right arm stays in a 90-degree angle to the side, the shoulders on the ground. And I would love for you to allow your body weight just to hang the leg over. Don't push, don't force, don't pull. Allow the body weight of the leg to just draw the rib cage over. And this is a lovely, lovely spinal twist. When we exhale, we can let the weight of the leg fall to the left side more. When we inhale, you can back up a bit and then go back into the movement. I'm a big fan of moving through our stretches because the nervous system is not threatened, and it helps us to release. And then slowly switch the legs. So let's do this together. Right leg extends out. Left foot is on the ground. We shift our hip to the left, maybe 2 inches or 3. And then the big toe of the left foot comes to the inside of the right knee. Left arm opens and stays in a 90-degree angle firmly on the ground. And then very slowly allow the whole rib cage. If you would take your right hand and hug it around your rib cage, you could draw the rib cage over to the side. Of course, without lifting the shoulder blade, yeah, that's important. But if you do this, you get this lovely twist in your spine so that it's not a hip and sacral aggravator here, which can very easily happen. Yeah, that's not what we want. So maybe your arm, this is a good way to learn this. And then slowly, last breath. Come back to center. Wonderful. Open your legs again. Keep the knees bent for this last posture. Let your knees sink towards each other. For most of us, this is a really good position for our back. If you can extend your legs and this feels good to you, you can come into full Shavasana. Close your eyes for one moment. And we take a few breaths. This was a short, little, full body opening. We touched on all major joints. And I hope this brought you some warmth. I can feel this in my body. It created a lot of warm energy. And so whatever comes after this, I think your body is going to be a lot happier in movement. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you next class. Namaste.